Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live, brought to you by PrizePicks. Sign up for PrizePicks today and use that promo code Leading Off when you do. It's me, Joey P. That, of course, is the Welsh. And what an amazing day here to come here and talk about historic Shohei Ohtani stuff. A little bittersweet because, as y'all might know, this is the last Leading Off of July for me, because it turns out that the trade deadline is not just for players, it's also for hosts. I'm officially being traded to Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros for the remainder of the baseball season. This is a little emotional for me. I want to thank the Welsh, and I want to thank everybody here at Leading Off, and a shout out to Ethan, who helped me take out a full page print ad in the paper. In case you didn't see it, it's from Leading Off. Joey P bids farewell to Leading Off. Again, if you're just a listener of the show, I beg you to go over to the YouTube channel Fantasy Pros MLB and watch today's show so you can see this amazing graphic. It is incredible. And yes, it's true. Casey Bubba will be returning, who everybody loves. Casey Bubba, one of the contributors to the Black Book, one of our people here at Fantasy Pros that we love so much. A good personal friend of ours.
Can you please read the I don't want to call it obituary, but it's like the...
It's not an obituary. I will read it later because I know a lot of people
let's read it
live.
Yeah.
So we'll read it later. But again, I'm so proud of what we've done here. I want you to continue to support the show with Welsh at the reins because he does a phenomenal job. Welsh will be doing a lot of football stuff for us too. A lot of things happening here. But Welsh, let's talk about Shohei Ohtani because a lot of stuff happening yesterday. Mike Mayer didn't start him yesterday in his league or daily transactions with a doubleheader, and neither did you, which is great, which makes it even better that this happened. So Shohei Ohtani hit not one but 2 home runs in game 2 after throwing a complete game shutout. It's the first time in the history of baseball that's ever happened. Somebody threw a shutout in a doubleheader and then hit 2 home runs in game 2. And then, by the way, how strange was it, Welsh, that you saw him leave the game with a cramp?
Dude.
When he grabbed his side, did you not think it was an oblique? Because I thought it was an oblique, and I thought, oh my God, I made this happen. It's all me.
It had everything. We had, and by the way, the Mayor thing was, Mayor and I both had single move leagues, and we didn't put him in as a pitcher. We left him in at util, and we were both, so we were both sitting there in the chat like, ugh, and then we got the 2 homers. So it had everything: the offense, the pitching, and then the injury. I mean, because the masochist in all of us was like, what if he gets hurt after they made the move? What if it happens? I asked this question. We'll do it quick. I asked this question to the CBS guys last night. This feat, complete game, 1 hit, 8 strikeout plus 2 homers. When you think about the pantheon of baseball accomplishments, do you think this is bigger, or I will do it quickly, or the cycle?
Oh, this is far more impressive, because the cycle's 4 at bats where everything goes your way. This is incredible.
This or a no hitter?
This is hard. Again, this is harder, I think.
This
or a perfect game. That is more unlikely. But I think this is harder. It's harder in the sense that you're asking somebody to do something so extraordinary, and then to have the stamina to pitch a game and then go out there afterwards and take 4 at-bats and hit 2 home runs. It's absurd. He is the greatest baseball player that ever lived, and you're all getting to watch him. I'm not saying he's the most prolific yet, but he's the greatest to ever play this game, because nobody has been dominant the way he has. Not Babe Ruth. You could talk about 600 home runs, whatever it is. I don't want to talk about 714. I don't want to talk about all these things. I'm just saying, if you had a draft right now and you had to take one person in the history of baseball for your baseball team to start it with, why wouldn't you take the guy who's a dominant pitcher and a dominant hitter?
Oh, sure. Look, put up put up Pedro's comment. I'm gonna do it in my Alex Jones voice. Government's in here letting us know that aliens are real. We were watching Shohei Ohtani, so we already knew that.
That's
aliens.
That's good stuff. I like that.
Lizard people down in Best Buy.
And yes, everyone's going to continue to support the Welsh, obviously, when I'm gone. And by the way, we're moving to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. So set yourself accordingly. Tuesday, Thursdays, the boys are taking some days off. Leading off will be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Yep.
We're not going away. We're just restructuring a little bit, because it's that time of year where we have to, but we're not abandoning you. So many places, they just abandon baseball coverage. We're not going to do that to you here at Fantasy Pros. We're never going to do that to you here. And it's an amazing opportunity that we've got to do all this. But
I mean, really, this is on
hold so much at one time.
And this is on our amazing listeners, because if they show out even harder, then there's nothing bigger for next year, or there's no reason we're not going to be bigger, better for next year. And the more that you're here, the more that I can stay here. So thank you very much. So keep doing that. It'll be great. I've also
Whips, by the way, crushing it. Joe has to leave before the Angels prove him wrong. 100% right.
Yeah,
Whips has got it.
I'm also going to try to find a way. I have a few things in mind of how to keep Joe fresh with us, so we can keep him with us a little bit. No. Not just talking about bald heads or looking at Bubba's bald head, but we can keep going. But yeah,
well, that's a good way. And Bubba's so great, and Bubba's so passionate. And I've done shows with Bubba. We used to do a daily DFS show together for a year, and Bubba's here. He's been part of the Fantasy Pros family, writing for stuff. Welsh has been working with him. So again, great stuff here. We've also got a trade. My Mets traded to the Marlins. So here you go. In division trades don't matter. So the Mets deal closer David Robertson to the Miami Marlins of all teams for infielder Marco Vargas and catching prospect Ronald Hernandez. Now Vargas is interesting. Yeah. He is again posting an 899 OPS over 33 games. He's only 18 years old, so he's just a boy. He's just a lad. He's at rookie level. He's a baby. Brooks Raley was the guy that actually took over for the save opportunity yesterday. So, Welsh, is Brooks the guy going forward?
He might be. He might be the guy that you want to put a little bit of fab on. I think you have to at this moment, if you're doing it right now, you got to speculate on Ottavino as well. But I think you might have even said this. Ottavino might get traded too. So
I would think so, yeah.
I think you should probably put, your eggs in both those baskets, because Rayleigh might be the guy, because I think they could, because Ottavino is just a free agent right after this year. So it's a rental for anybody. And I think they will move him. So I actually personally, if I'm doing it, I'm prioritizing Rayleigh right now. I would go in on that if I'm looking for some saves.
Yeah, understandably so. So get in now, make these moves. Kodai Senga in that same game, by the way, gave up one run over 6 innings, no decision. Josiah Gray was really good in that game too. Josiah Gray, I think, has had a very underappreciated season. 25 years old now, excuse me. 3.27 ERA. The whip is still a little high at 1.41, but 102 strikeouts and 118 innings, 54 walks. Like, this is a guy I feel like that's a good long-term investment. Like, I could see next year him taking another step. And as this team eventually brings up some of these prospects that are going to hit here, you could see Gray being a really interesting dynasty buy low right now. I think that's a kid that I take on the cheap. And I think in dynasty leagues, Josiah Gray is a target of mine because I think it is a kid that you could see he's got that pitchability. He's got that factor of what made him a big time prospect. And I could see in 2 years from now us going, man, Josiah Gray turned out to be a pretty solid fantasy pitcher. What are your thoughts on acquiring him in dynasty leagues right now or keeper formats that are deep?
I think Gray could get in. Gray's a really smart pitcher. I think Gray could end up being like a Mitch Keller. Like, you know how we see Mitch Keller, who's with the Pirates, and it comes up and down a little bit. Like, he's a little bit up and down streaky, but very smart pitcher, good spin stuff. I wish he was on another team. I think it would be more exciting if he were almost anywhere else, but he's still a great person to buy in. I think there's a lot of these worst team, good pitchers to buy in on right now just to see what happens and see how the team redevelops. Gray would be in that group. Like Tariq Skubal's like my number one buy for next guy.
Good, like interesting pitchers, young enough to make strides, but already pitching at the big leagues on bad teams. Yeah, because those teams won't be bad forever, theoretically. Although I've said that about the Tigers for a certain time, but we'll get to that in a second. Another trade. This one was predicted last week on the show. Well, actually, I think it was predicted this week by me. When Carlos Santana had that 2-homer game or whatever he had, I said, that guy's going. He's definitely going. And where did he go? In division. That's right. The Pirates send him to the Brewers. It's a good addition for him. I think the Brewers did well here. Santana, a veteran bat, gets on base. That's been a problem at times for that offense. So a good move there. Tanner Bybee, 3 runs over 6 2/3 for a win over the White Sox. Some injury news Welsh to get to. Brandon Woodruff allowed 1 run in 4 innings yesterday in his minor league rehab start. Starling Marte still not close to returning. Getting a second opinion with the migraines. This stinks for the Mets, though, because this was a piece that I think a lot of teams would be interested in. Marte is a guy with power, with speed, with the ability to get hot and go on a real dominant run. So I don't know if a team's still willing to trade for a guy with a migraine issue, but I think
I don't think so. They're just going to have to move. They're going to move Kana, and they're going to move Pham, and then that leads to Ronnie Mauricio coming back up. So again,
Mauricio
speculate to pick up some Ronnie Mauricio for time. But yeah, they're the buy sell market is so weird right now. Like, I didn't expect the Marlins to be buyers. We did a ITL show yesterday talking about and speculating all the teams, and I wasn't really even thinking about it. And we talked about the Red Sox, and someone was kind of like, why would the Red Sox, blah, 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 they have a better record than Diamondbacks. And it was like, but also they're 4th in the division and they just sold off. Like, it's very strange what the movement of teams are and how many teams are really sellers, and just how much more aggressive I think teams need to be if they want to get into this buying market right now. Because the Marlins are out punching people right now, which is weird.
Mauricio, by the way, rostered in just 26% of leagues right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great speculative.
And I'm sure 20% of them right now are dynasty only. Like, that's the whole point. Zach Eflin could make his next start after the MRI on his knee. Didn't reveal anything major. That's good.
Did I tell you this? No. So the last...
I can tell you didn't tell me because you're excited about it, and I would...
Well, I told somebody, but I must have told Bogman.
It couldn't have been me.
So the trade video, I did my final trade video, doing those all year. Hope you guys enjoyed those. We did waivers, and Joe and I did waivers. Yeah,
because the trade deadlines come to an end here. This is the end game of baseball season here.
Exactly. We're still here for you. But this was like guys to target for the end of the year. And I'll tell you guys this, because he's not in the video. I put Zach Eflin in the video. And then as I got finished, I was like, aha, look at me. I'm all done for the year. Here he goes. Here go editors. Zach Eflin gets hurt. He got shelled and then got hurt. And I went, we got to take him out.
No.
We got to take him out. Yeah. But to the point prior to the injury
here.
Yeah, well, I'm committed to it. Prior to the injury, he got a .31 walk per 9 over the last 30 days. and had the #1 WAR among all pitchers. His K percentage was going up. The win-loss, I think, was keeping him maybe down a tiny bit more, but he had just been so good and just one of those guys that is not viewed in the upper range of pitchers. I'm saying all this to say that injury brought him back down a little bit because he got banged up a little bit. He was on a tear. And if I could get him for dirt cheap at my fantasy deadline, I would take the risk right now because he was in the video, but I took him out because he got hurt, and that would just be silly, but we're going back.
Yes, and so everybody knows, I will probably re-sign again with leading off in January.
Probably?
So, I think so. I mean, I think it's a pretty good chance. Where else would I want to be? So I'm going to go be the hired gun for football season. But don't worry, everybody. I'll be back. Let's get
want me. You got to stay if you want me back too.
Yeah. By the way, Byron Buxton's back. Speaking of people being back too, so now he can come back and strike out 5 times today. I can't wait. Can we talk about Trey Cabbage?
We could.
Come on, I want to talk about Trey Cabbage because Trey Cabbage, 26 years old, AAA this year, 287 batting average, 358 OBP, 576 slugging, 23 bombs, and 24 steals. Where did Trey Cabbage come from? So far. He's got 9 major league games under his belt. Are you picking up the cabbage?
Yeah, Cabbage is actually...
It's time to harvest the cabbage. I've been waiting my whole life to say that.
I don't like that one.
I want to harvest the cabbage.
I don't like that one a lot.
Oh, you love it.
Trey Cabbage, to me, is very similar to Christian Walker some years back. If you remember, Christian Walker was 26, 27 going into AAA. This is obviously a much older player. He was drafted in 2015. He had been in the minors for 8 years. That would put probably 7 full season years. Huge hard hit.
Wasn't that Whit Merrifield too? He was in the minors forever.
Some of those guys
came up and hit. Nobody thought he would ever sustain, and then he was an all-star for a couple of years. I mean, this does happen. It's not impossible.
I'm telling you, this is Christian Walker to me though, because but Walker had better plate discipline. But this year, every single night, if you do the Baseball Savant game feed for minor leaguers, which you can do, every single night in the minors, it's 116, 115 by Cabbage. He is absolutely smacking the ball. The problem is he's got a 40% K rate in the majors right now. He's a K liability. He's not the best contact hitter. He's just a huge power guy. It's kind of like the Jared Walsh stuff. Maybe Jared Walsh had a little bit more contact, less power. He gets zipped out, DFA. They're going to just give Cabbage a run for the rest of the year. He's just a great speculative power buy in this lineup. I'm totally cool with it for maybe deeper leagues. I don't know about 12 because I think the Ks are going to be a problem. But he is a total pop-up name that's probably just sitting out there for you.
Agreed.
And in the long line of food-based players. I'm very interested in food-based players. Bogman and I have been having these discussions about players with food names, and he is the...
Who comes to mind?
Oh, man, it just completely went out my brain. Because there's David Fry. So there's David Fry, who's up with
Jeff Fry also, too, is another Fry.
Yep, we have Fries. They all escaped me right now.
Mia Hamm.
Okay, well, I'm thinking baseball players. But yes,
Rice.
If we want to have a very open Thanksgiving here, we can have lots and lots of
Julius Peppers.
We need the Peppers.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
The chat, come in the chat with the baseball ones. Bogman and I did this. We had almost a whole meal. Oh, Jake Berger. Jake Berger was one of the biggest reasons behind it. So you've got Jake Berger. We had Fry, and there's others. So put your food-based players in, and Cabbage is one of them.
There you go. All right, let's continue on here. 3 up and 3 down. Speaking of Jake Berger, 2 homers yesterday. He's up to 24. Welsh, I didn't have 24 bombs for Jake Berger on my bingo card, but I'm here for it. It's exciting.
And playing second base. He played second base yesterday. Eligibility. He is the White Sox Max Muncy.
After the trade deadline, he's gonna have to go throw 3 or 4 innings because these guys are gonna be gone. Taylor Ward homered twice too, just for my last day. Thanks, Taylor Ward. You could suck on it. Hunter Renfroe, by the way, was also 6 for 9 with a homer in the doubleheader. Good day for all the Angels. And I mean, Welsh, I still can't get over when he was grabbing his side there. I literally felt so physically ill. I just felt like, oh my God, I
was doing a show with Bogman and he goes, Ohtani just grabbed his whatever, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the nightmare of night. It would have been
funny, but it's hilarious.
The most chaotic 24 hours of the team doesn't get rid of him, sells minor league guys to get more players. He has a historic day and then gets hurt. You couldn't have scripted. It would be a Black Mirror episode for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for 10 seconds. Let's live in the moment that happened. Bill Plaschke wrote a great article. If you haven't, go see it. It's on the LA Times. Bill Plaschke is one of the great sports writers, about what a disastrous idea this is. He basically was, obviously he's a fan of the show and he's heard me, but basically wrote a giant article in the LA Times about why this is such a terrible idea, what they're doing, and why this short-term, catering to the moment is going to long-term set this organization back further. And he's 100% right. But oh my God, that horrible, terrible 10 seconds of him grabbing his side at the end, I just can't get over it.
But the only thing I meant to ask you yesterday, the only thing we've never discussed in this, what if it works? Like, this is a Hail Mary shot to bring him back. What if it worked? They got to the playoffs and they won under Ohtani, and they were able to re-sign him based off of all that. What if you had a 2% chance to bring him back as maybe the greatest player we've ever seen in baseball? Isn't it worth more to take that 2% chance that you could instead of a 100% chance
well,
he's gone?
This isn't Little Giants. This isn't The Sandlot. This isn't Mighty Ducks. This is real life. And yeah, sometimes that stuff happens, but baseball is trickier. The gauntlet of the playoffs of baseball, with a rotation you need to be really good, 3 deep, and a bullpen that's really reliable and proven.
They got some of that.
So that's gonna lot. Look, I told you I want it to be, because I think I want to see Shohei Ohtani play in the World Series. I think that is going, the ratings for that would be off the charts. I am here for it. I want it to happen. I'm just the cranky old guy that's telling you they're going to live to regret this decision. That's all.
I have an idea. If the Angels make the playoffs, you and I do a live stream during the episode. We'll figure it out.
Oh, you mean during the game?
The episode, yeah. While the game is going on, you and I, we're a companion broadcast as they've made the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, because they'll probably play in what is it, the play-in game or whatever. Like, you and I will do a live stream during that game if they make the playoffs. Can you agree to that?
I will absolutely agree to that, because I think that would be super fun.
Okay.
So
right.
yes, let's go. Let's do it. Let's also do the downs. Dylan Cease, he could be gone too. 4 runs, 5 2/3, and lost to the Guardians. Matt Manning, we just talked about yesterday, got his doors blown off. 7 runs in 5 innings against the Angels. And set your watch to it. Javier Baez over 4.3 Ks. Chef's kiss. Thank you, Javier. Now, before we get into the prize picks, now I know that everybody's joined us again. Leading off starting Monday, Casey Bubba will indeed be here. The trade is confirmed. It has happened. It'll be a Monday show, a Wednesday show, a Friday show, with the Welsh running the show.
I'll be over there.
Boy, Bubba. So we're just going to switch. So there'll be a bald guy in that square, in this square.
This square.
This square. It's
one.
like opposite. Yeah. In this square, there will be a bald guy. Welsh will be over in this square where I am here. But again, I wanted to take out an ad in the Players Tribune. Do you want to read this in the old-timey voice? Should we do this? They say in baseball, all good things must come to an end. And unfortunately, that day has arrived for our beloved podcast host, Joey P. As the sun sets on his illustrious career covering MLB on leading off in 2023, we can only help but feel a mixture of sadness and excitement for the journey that lies ahead. Today marks the final show of the season, but fear not, baseball fans, as our show must go on with a fresh new lineup. For countless mornings, Joey P's voice has filled the airwaves, weaving his love and passion for the game with the hearts of his audience. So there you go. You can read more on page 3. But again, I'll be back.
Hopefully that's where you mention me and you talk about all the great stuff I've done, Joe.
I just asked Ethan to do this thing, and shout out to Ethan for doing it on short notice in an hour.
Great.
And it looks fantastic, and it's hilarious. And it's funny because I'm screaming and it's back to football. But it's not like I haven't stopped doing football, but everybody knows Betting Pros were doing amazing stuff there this year. We're going to be doing a dedicated NFL show 5 days a week. Go subscribe to Betting Pros NFL. It's going to be just like this. It's going to be a show where we talk NFL, we talk about betting. It's going to be a community. It's going to be some live stuff in there too. So if you're a big fantasy person, if you're a big betting person, if you just love football, it's going to be a great channel. And stay here because, again, we're not abandoning baseball at Fantasy Pros. It's just changing. And you know what else is something that never changes? It's always going to be here for you.
I don't.
PrizePicks. Sign up for PrizePicks today. Use that promo code leading off when you do. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Welsh, pick some prizes for the people.
All right. God, we have got to go out with a bang with Joe leaving for at least this season here. So I'm going to go with a big strikeout total one. I'm going with the Gossman Lucas Giolito strikeout combo. I think Lucas Giolito is going to come out swinging in this one. I also don't hate the strikeout individually, but Gossman, Angels, that's kind of a match made in strikeout heaven. Go with Giolito, 13.5. It's a huge number, but you're talking about averaging 7 apiece. Very doable here. And then fantasy scores, Julio at 7.5 up against Tommy Henry, and Corbin Carroll, because Corbin Carroll. So those are going to be my 3 for this bad boy.
I think it would be funny if Bubba cast miss a show, then maybe you do have cousin Donnie on, who knows very little about baseball, but if we can keep him clean, maybe as a guest spot, maybe one day. Could be. I don't know. Clean. We'll see. Prize picks for me, Braxton Garrett, 5.5 pitcher strikeouts over against the Tigres. Max Scherzer against his old team, 6 strikeouts over against the Nats, and Mookie Betts all overs today, going out with a bang. 8.5 hitter fantasy score. There you have it. Some bets for today: the Rays, Twins, and Yankees on the money line. You can put them all together, get a better number, or bet them individually. But my favorite thing to do is go with the Cole over on the strikeouts and the Yankees to win against the Orioles. I know they're playing the Orioles, and the Orioles have been really good, and Grayson Rodriguez is pitching on the other side, but I'm going to put my faith in Cole. The Yankees are frustrating. Still waiting on return news, by the way. We still haven't heard anything about Judge yet. If that breaks,
he was actually available on PrizePicks today. Funny enough.
I know. I saw that and I was like, oh, let's take the under before he doesn't play in a while. Welsh, what do you have betting wise for the good people?
Yeah, he'd have to actually play. So one of my favorite bets, it's already in the Betting Pros group. I made it last night. I made a couple of these bets to lock them in. Houston, Tampa Bay, total runs through the first 5 over. And it's McClanahan and Javier, but both have been giving up runs lately. I actually like this one a pretty decent amount to get the over 4.5. So essentially betting on 5 runs through the first 5, Houston, Tampa Bay. I'm also got a little hits parlay for you. Corbin Carroll, Mookie Betts, just to get a hit. It's just a tiny bit under 1-1, so you're paying a little bit of juice for it, but it's too good. And then I'm going with one of my first 3 innings. I'm going with the Mets and the Nationals through the first 3 innings to score less than 2.5 runs. That one was even money last night. I like that one. Mackenzie Gore on the back half of after the first time through the rotation gets a lot worse. I think you got Scherzer in there. So I'm very much about this one through essentially going through the first lineup and just mowing them down. So under 2.5 runs for that. Those are my 3 bets for today. Let's rock it.
I'm getting sentimental now. People are saying nice things in the chat, which is, again, I don't like, I love all of these people.
Well, everyone should know, I also kind of fought a little bit to try to convince Joe to, but it's out of his hands.
The other thing too is what happens in August is this, folks, is that my kids are off from school for another month here. July is always very busy doing baseball and football shows and betting shows. I've been doing MMA shows lately. I've been doing soccer shows. I'm doing all kinds of crazy things. I need a little time, a little reset for my brain, and spend some time with the kiddos and family and doing some things like that in August so that I'm ready for what comes in, fall, which is wall-to-wall football, as we all know. I mean, that moves the needle here more than anything else. So it's good. I need a little break. Otherwise I get burned out, but I'm going to miss all of you. I am so proud of this channel. This is the little engine that could, and the only reason it does is because of the Welsh and because of Kelly Kirby and because of Mike Mayer, sorta, and because of all of you. It's the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks. It's the Codys. It's the Richies. It's the Lees. It's the, the Survivors. It's all of you out there who, the JPs, I mean, you know who you are. Lee, all these folks who join us every single day here. Fettuccine Alfredo, Cousin Donnie. Like, it's such a fun group. And I always said this, I think the community is just important. The content is important. The entertainment's important. And all of you guys and gals who meet here every day or listen to the show on the podcast version, people said this could not be done with a baseball show. We said, yes, it can. Give us a couple years to prove it. And to Blaine's credit and Fantasy Pros credit, Chris's credit, they've let us try, and we've crushed it. And you all have crushed it. And I want to keep crushing it the rest of the season. And I can't wait. I'm hoping that Welsh gets some Arizona Fall League stuff for you guys in the off season here on this channel.
I'm not going to announce it here, but I have there might be more off season baseball stuff that you guys haven't had in the past because I'm around. So we'll announce that when we get closer. Everything is good. It's all good.
Mustaches.
Yeah.
It was a good time. Continuing on here, don't forget also, speaking good times, you know it, I know it, Sorare MLB. It's fantasy. It's free. It's cards. FantasyPros.com/collect. Join now. Look at that Shohei Ohtani. Hurry. Get your Shohei Ohtani a card as the Angels before it becomes the Dodgers or the Yankees next year or whatever the heck it's going to become. The Mets are going to spend Steve Cohen after a disappointing season and a big checkbook. Who knows? He might go out and sign Soto and Ohtani and just say, screw it. I'm going to have a $500 million payroll. I just don't care. It's not impossible.
How much would you have to pay, by the way, for that penalty? Like another $500 million?
What does he care?
Yeah, I get.
If I was the Mets owner and I had unlimited money and money was not an object, I haven't seen a World Series since I was 8 years old. I mean, why not? I'd be like, okay. I mean, I would hire you as general manager. I hire Nick Pollock too. He's a good baseball mind. And maybe Eno. We get Eno in. We get a little brain trust. How fun would that be if I was the owner of a team? We get a bunch of you'd be the prospect guy. Nick would be the pitching guru. Eno would be the numbers guy. And then, I'd go hire Joey Votto.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Heck of an organization we'd have. All right. Yeah. DFS pitchers. There's a lot of them today, so stay with me.
AI.
The Zach Wheeler has not pitched well, so I'm fading him at 10-6. He's pitched well. The Phillies, let me rephrase. The Phillies are struggling offensively. The last week of Castellanos and Schwarber, they have slugging percentages under 200. It's a horrendous situation right now. Braxton Garrett, 9.6, more intriguing. Kevin Gossman in that same game on the other side of Wheeler, 10.9, more intriguing to me. Sonny Gray at 10.1. I just wonder about the offense putting up runs. Shane McClanahan, 9.9. You can go against Javier. I think that's fine. Jordan Montgomery, maybe his last start at 9.4. I'm in for that one, and I'm in for Musgrove at 9.8. So Musgrove, McClanahan, and Montgomery, the 3 M's, those are the ones I'm really focusing on today. I think they have the best opportunity. Stacks, Mets, Braves, Dodgers, values. Crawford at the top of that order for Seattle. Tyler O'Neill in the middle of it for the Cardinals. And Max Kepler, 2.8 in the middle for the Minnesota Twinkies. My home run call in perpetuity, it's not going to be Ohtani. As fun as that would be, that's too passe. I'm not going to do that. Let's go with Matt Olson instead. Let's go with Matt Olson and the Braves to just keep rolling. That's going to be my dude for the weekend and going forward. Welsh, who's your home run call for the day? What do you have?
I'm going to go over for the weekend. I'm going to rock with Ronald Acuna. So
there you go.
Stay
all
with
Braves.
The same team. Yeah, there you go. All Braves.
There you go.
Razor. All Razor at the top of that home run board.
Razor at the top of 38.
Above all the people. Wonky's still there. I'm still not. It's lame.
Again, still plenty of time. August is a reset. FantasyPros.com/chat. Go premium today. FantasyPros.com/premium. Join the home run channel. Win yourself some swag. Next year, we're going to have some shirts made up, some fun things. It's going to be a good time. We've got that
new Fantasy Pros logo, too. Going to need to.
New logo. Nice. This will be gone. We'll have a new one here. I'll figure out which direction to point in on the YouTube channel. But shout out to my boy, the Welsh, who, again, can't do the show without you. I am blessed that every single day of my life, I get to hang out with my friends and talk sports. I've earned that over a decade and a half of work and pain and sweat and tears and blood and all that stuff, but it's still pretty great. And I acknowledge that. And I guess shout out to the Welsh, an incredible fantasy baseball guy, incredible host, incredible sports guy. I can't wait to be back and do more of this with you. I am excited for Bubba. I'm excited for all of you. And again, just this is such a blessing, this show. Keep supporting the show. Keep supporting this channel, Fantasy Pros MLB, over on YouTube. Click the little bell till it goes ding. Because like Welsh said, some off-season stuff is going to be brewing this year. That's something we've never done, and it's something we're going to really start to do, and I think it's really exciting. So, again, shout out to all of you, the Peanuts, the Cracker Jacks. But, of course, the story of the game goes on. For the Welsh, I'm Joey P. Enjoy the trade deadline. Enjoy the MLB season. We got you covered here at Fantasy Pros. We'll see you soon, kids.